That's okay. Okay. Hello, this is Chrissy, and I'm here with Vince, who happens to be my husband. He is a canine police officer, canine technician, right?
Yes.
Yes. So why don't you tell us a little bit about what you do?
Okay. I've been a police officer for 17 years. I worked midnights for a long, long time, 8-9 years ago. But I've been a canine technician handler for the last 5 years. I work out in crowds with lots of people, and I've worked with a couple of dogs now. It's Ranger back here. Want to get on the picture. And we work with crowds of people every day, making sure everybody is safe.
Okay. And what kind of stuff did Ranger do? Ranger's retired, by the way, so he's living the life of pet luxury now.
Yes, he's living home,
having fun back there. So, but what kind of things did you do with Ranger?
We walked around crowds, around buildings, and we were looking for things that were damaging or hurtful to the public.
Okay, very cool. And so, how did Ranger help you with that?
Rangers dogs, animals have a much better sense of smell than we do, and Ranger can detect that with his nose and would find it. Just had to hold on to the end of the leash and get him to where he needed to be at to find what could hurt other people.
Okay, and I know from experience, Ranger's not very good at walking on a leash.
Yes, yes.
Kind of as a result of that.
Yes.
He will try to yank your arm out. It's not fun to walk him.
No, yeah, so. He's kind of taught to go where he wants to go at, and you don't want to prevent him from getting to where he needs to get to. So.
Right. And this is Parker.
He also doesn't like other dogs.
No.
Yeah, no, he's not a fan of other dogs. Parker's saying hi. You want to say hi? Hi. So let's see. What are some other So what kind of dog is Ranger?
Ranger is a yellow Labrador.
Okay. And what kind of other dogs do well doing the job that Ranger did?
And in the job that Ranger did, we have Labradors, and mostly Labradors, yellow, black. And then we also have German Shorthair Pointers.
Okay.
We do our work has found they like those dogs to work in the public.
Mm-hmm. Why do they pick that kind of dog and not German Shepherds or that kind of dog?
People are scared. In my opinion, people are scared of Ranger. They're scared of other dogs that are real friendly looking. I think it's just more about appearance. People can be scared. They get scared of the German Shepherds and the Belgian Mouse, even though they're very great dogs.
Right, but somebody like Ranger, a dog like Ranger, doesn't look very threatening and
a little more friendly.
Friendly.
People still would get scared of him.
Right. Okay.
People also are just afraid of dogs, but we need him. We need the dogs to get as close to people as we can.
Mm-hmm.
So when people backing away and running away from you, so
right.
It's a more friendly environment.
Okay. So if any kids are watching, if you have any questions for Vince, just go ahead and comment them or have your parents comment them, and we can ask Mr. Vince what your questions are.
Yep.
If any adults have any questions also, then you're welcome to ask as well. I suspect some of his coworkers might be, or some of his friends might be watching. And if you are watching, just make sure the questions are appropriate for kids, because there will be kids watching this. We're live streaming to both Facebook and YouTube at the same time. So just make sure any questions are kid appropriate. Parker, do you have any questions for Vince? I know, but do you have any questions?
Why couldn't we get a German Shepherd?
He wants to know why we couldn't get a German Shepherd.
This is not the type of work that I do.
I want a Malamute.
A Malamute.
Yeah.
Oh boy. All right, so I'm trying to think of another question here, because I know we're limited on what we can ask because of your job. So I know, what kind of training did you do with Ranger when you were? I guess you had to go to special training to become a canine technician.
Right. So we went to special training. It's the long story. It's very starts with basic and simple stuff with the dogs. And works their way up to where we're going to be at the end. So they have to learn what we want them to find by start. So you got to start with that in rewarding the dogs with whatever, or in my case, odor the dogs were looking to find. And you start in the very beginning, and then you work your way up. Mm-hmm. So they know when they recognize all the odors. So it takes time. You have to just you start from the beginning. You're patient. You reward the dog, and then you move on to the more complicated things where we work with the crowds. We don't start looking for things in the crowd. We start just everything standing still. Just like teaching a child to walk. It just takes time.
Right. And somebody's trying to watch. Hold on one second. I got to give them the link. So keep talking.
Oh, yep. That's it.
Keep talking.
So, I don't know if this question is going to get asked or not, but it's the bond that you develop with the dog is very important. Ranger, to this day, he's been retired for a little over a year, and he's still mad when I go to work without him. I shoot up a shoe to mine, he chew up a shoe. When I try to go work, if he's downstairs, he wants to go work with me. So you develop working with him every day, you develop a bond with the animal. And the animal really wants to work for you. They want to make you happy, and you want to keep them happy. So that's very important. Also, another thing that's important that a lot of people I think don't recognize is the health of the dog. Every day, I do a health check of the dog. It's something simple. People can do at home. And if somebody asks me that, I'll explain it to them later on what I do. But especially with working dogs, something simple, cold, can affect, medicine they take can affect their ability to smell, and that's what we don't want hindered.
Right.
So it's just like myself, I take care of myself. That you have to take care of the dogs also, because just like if you at home, if you're ill, you're not feeling well, you don't take care of yourself. You're not going to perform up to your abilities in school or anywhere else. So the dog is the same way.
Okay.
They have to be healthy.
Right. Now, when you worked with Ranger, were people always trying to come up and pet him?
Yes, even though it says do not pet.
Right.
Always wanted to pet Ranger.
Right. So any of you kids, if you don't already know this, if you see a dog that's working, whether they're working as a canine doing police work, or if they're working as a guide dog or anything like that, usually they have something on their vest that says do not pet. So you do need to make sure that you're not petting them because it can distract them from their job, which could be dangerous in some cases. So we just want to make sure that you do that. So just a reminder, if anybody has any questions, please go ahead and ask them. We are here with Mr. Vince Cearlock until about 9:30. And we also have Ranger. I'm going to switch cameras real quick so you can see Ranger. Give me 1 second here. He is the star of our show.
He's just like, I'm trying.
Let's see. Let's see if it'll switch. No. It's not working.
I'm sorry, buddy. You're on TV.
No, it's not working. Sorry, Ranger.
He's just looking at me. What?
Let's see if this one will work.
No,
No.
he's whining.
Oh, Ranger's sad that he can't be on camera. Come here, Ranger.
Jump.
Come here.
Ranger.
It's gonna come around that way. Come here, Ranger. Come on up here. Let's see
I didn't
Ranger.
sign up for this.
There's Ranger.
He's a
Yes,
guy.
this is Ranger. He's very cute. He's a very sweet dog.
Yeah.
He's enjoying his retirement. He used to be very antsy when Vince would leave for work with his new dog, and but now he just lays on the sofa all the time. You can see he's got the old man hair. He's getting a little old here. How old is Ranger?
Ranger's 11. He'll be 12 in October.
Okay, and he's a very good boy. He's a very sweet boy. Okay, you can get down.
Buddy.
He says, "No, I want to stay up here now."
Ranger, come here.
He's very good. So what kind of training did you do day to day with Ranger? Because you couldn't just, huh? It's on.
I know.
Yeah. What kind of training did you do day to day with Ranger? Because you did training with him to teach him how to do it, but I'm guessing you had to keep that up.
Yeah, we always, you're always doing training with an animal every day, whether it's simple ball release, whether it's obey, come back, retrieval skills as far as dogs get loose, so you need to make sure your dog will come back to you on command. So that's one thing you work with. Ranger was pretty good when I got him with that. He was he was already 5 when I started working with Ranger, but you still have to build a trust with the individual person. Sit, stay, those kind of commands.
Mm-hmm.
Need to work with on that with the dog. and that's I do every day, and I do it with my new dog too. We always are working on something every day, trying to get him better at it. So it just takes time, and it takes a building of trust. I spent I'm Ranger. I spent many hours, in the kennel with Ranger, brushing him, or even Bingo brushing and keeping him nice and good looking. Not only that, but it helps you develop a bond with the dog. Not only it gets the hair from getting everywhere in your house, you get a little closer to bond with your dog by taking care of them and brushing their hair and so forth. They're making sure they're not sick.
And that look I gave was because we have a lot of dog hair in our
4 dogs, so
there's a lot of dog hair.
Is.
Yeah, there's Ranger. Ranger's got relatively long hair, and then we've got 2 pet dogs that one of them sheds quite a bit, so we get a lot of hair around our house.
Yes, lots of hair.
So, and we do, as you might have seen, Ranger was up on the futon. We do let our dogs on the furniture. They're part of our family.
Right.
What's the matter, Ranger?
Just sitting on me.
And that's your own personal preference from home. I know people who don't want the dogs up on the furniture, and it's up to you. We tried and then just gave up. So, but we're not home during the day. I leave early in the morning, and I don't get home till late in the evening. And Miss Chrissy works not from home right now. I mean, right now everybody's working from home, obviously, but most times she's away too. So the dogs are left on their own. So, that's another thing. As far as when you're training your own personal dog, some dogs. My dog right now is crate. If I'm at home, he's in a crate. He does, you gotta, where they trust, where they can make it when you're not home, not to go bathroom. That's a whole nother issue with potty. Ranger was already house trained when we got him. New dog, we had to get him house trained. It took a week or two, but now he doesn't have any accidents near other dogs. But so other things to consider. Oftentimes when I work long hours and Miss Chrissy's not home, we have to hire a dog walker to come over and let the dogs out. They're not walking them, but they got to go outside and use the bathroom and get fed, because they can only be home so long by themselves before they get hungry or have to go bathroom. They're just like people. You can't get mad at them.
Right. So we do have a question from Jet. I'm going to show it on the screen. Jet wants to know, what is the most important skill for a dog to have to be trained for a police dog?
Drive.
Okay.
It's the ability of a drive. Ranger or my other dog will do anything for a tennis ball.
Yes.
Everything changes past. You can get him to concentrate. He'll sit still. He loves the tennis ball. And when they find what they get, they get the tennis ball. Mm-hmm. And he'll do anything for it. So they got to have the drive to go out and work. It's not every dog that's come through where I work at has passed. They lack the drive. They can make it in the morning, but in the afternoon they're like, I'm done. I'm done working for the day. I want to lay down and chew on the tennis ball in the back of the car.
Right.
So in my job, it's where I particularly work at, it's important for the dog to have a lot of drive, like the handler. They got to be willing to get out, and a handler can motivate a dog to, with their own personal, praise and motivation and how they treat the dog, get the dog to work too. But the dog's internal drive is very important. Right. And that's something that our trainers gauge when they go pick them up at the various training facilities when we pick up dogs.
Do you use food for rewards with the dogs or no? Okay, that's good.
Well, it's used for rewards for certain things, but not for their primary job.
Their primary, okay.
Yeah.
We have another question. How long does it take to train a police dog?
It's somewhere around 14 weeks. It'll be completely depending on the dog and depending on what the drive, what you want the dog to do. It's somewhere around 14, 15 weeks, I want to say.
Okay. Never
really counted, but that seems like it's about, a little over 3 months.
And do they take puppies in to train them, or how old are they usually when they start?
They're around 1 or 2 years old.
Okay.
Most dogs that I've seen are pretty close to the age of 2. My dog now when I started training him wasn't quite 2 years old. But yeah, they're not puppies. I would say they're at least 1 year old, if not a little bit older. When we get them.
Right. Okay. Now I don't know if I'm allowed to ask this or not, but what kind of dogs do the place that you work? What are they looking for? Am I allowed to ask that?
We look for things that go boom.
Okay.
How about that?
Yeah.
Okay. Things that go boom is what we look for.
Okay. So keeping everybody safe.
Keeping everybody safe.
Yeah. Okay. So just a reminder, if you have any questions, feel free to ask them. We have Vince Cearlock here. He is a canine technician and police officer. So if somebody just wanted to be a canine technician, could they do that without having to go through all of the other police stuff before that?
I mean, if you want to work, I mean, it depends on, I guess, your department, but where I work at, you have to start as a police officer, and then it's a promotion to the title that I have.
Okay.
I mean, there's private. I mean, the field that I work in right now, it's getting huge. People, NFL wants them, Major League Baseball wants the games. I'm sure, I don't see them at hockey games, but I know I've seen them at NFL games, and I've seen them personally at football games, even some NASCAR races.
Mm-hmm.
Some of those are private. They're just private, guys working or women. I do see women doing it too. Also, there's a lot of women in the field, but work the dogs. But they're not police officers, but they've all started somewhere, guys. You're not just gonna, you you're gonna need some experience to get to where I didn't have any experience where I'm at, but I know a lot of these private companies that I've ran into, they're ex-military, they're ex-police officers, they're ex whatever that is.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with trying to get into it. I'm just, gonna need some kind of dog experience to start working with the animals,
Right,
in this kind of a capacity.
right. Okay. And how long were you a police officer before you became a canine technician?
I've been on the department now where I'm at for I'm in my 17th year, almost 17 completed.
Okay.
So I was about 12 years before I came to where I was at.
Okay. And what did you do before you were a police officer?
I worked midnights. I was a patrol officer on midnights.
No, before you were a police officer.
Oh, I was a caseworker.
Caseworker.
I was a caseworker. I did children's casework back in the state of Illinois.
Okay. So you didn't start off as a police officer. I know a lot of people, when they go into police work, they start off as police officers, but you didn't start off as a police officer.
No. I did some accounting. I always kind of wanted to be a police officer, but I started with some accounting work. And I also was I told you before, I was a medical caseworker back in Illinois. And then, 9/11 kind of got me thinking about the field again. And so after 9/11, started looking at various places and looked various places across where I want to go work at. And then I decided to come out and work here in the Washington, D.C. area.
Okay. We have another question from Jet. Did you always want to work with dogs?
That was kind of one of my main motivations. I was a dog kid my whole life. Never really raised them. Never really bred dogs on my own or anything like that. But I always wanted to work with dogs.
Mm-hmm.
I met a gentleman through my son's Taekwondo school. He was a state trooper, and he worked with a canine, and that's when I decided I wanted to come in the police department, that's where I really wanted to do. That's where I wanted. That was my ultimate goal, was to get to be a canine or a handler technician.
Mm-hmm.
So that's when I started the police department. That was my end goal. That's where I wanted to get to. I wanted to be a canine handler.
Okay.
When I started.
So I know a question that I've had kids ask before: if they wanted to become a police officer or eventually a canine technician, what are some things like that they should study if they're going to go to college or trade schools? What kind of things should they study to help them on the path to becoming that kind of towards that career?
Myself, I'm a political science major. But in police work today, even though there's a lot of technology, you still need the ability to be able to write and be able to explain what you saw over in a report. So writing skills are very important. There's a lot of people who want to be crime scene technicians, and they go into that cyber field. And if you want to do that, then you're obviously going to have to get some of that that computer experience. To do it, a lot of places, you don't not necessarily have to have any kind of a college degree to be a police officer, but some places are requiring at least a couple of years now, depending on where you're looking at, to have some kind of a 2-year degree or so many hours military experience or prior police experience. So,
okay.
All important. Honestly, the most important thing is to remember, kids, is decisions you make when you get a little bit older are important, and it can hold up your career.
Mm-hmm.
You know, decisions you make in your social lives can affect you later on down the road. So
Mm-hmm.
it is important to remember that when you go look into the field, because everything's this is on this. People can find this, and people can find any post you make on Facebook
Right.
or Instagram, whatever. It's gonna be the new thing in 5 or 6 years. So
Mm-hmm.
just remember that's decisions you make as a can come back and haunt you. So you have to be careful about that also, as well as your education.
Right.
Education is always important. You always, you need to learn, basics, reading, writing, and math. You got to be able to do those things.
Right. Yeah, and just the kids, like Mr. Vince was saying, decisions you make now, decisions that you're making as a teenager, especially with social media. Social media has been a really big thing. That's really true for a lot of jobs. So you really want to be careful what you're posting online. Social media, Parker mentioned TikTok. You do need to be careful what you're posting on TikTok, YouTube, any other social media, Instagram. Just be aware that your future employer might see that. And if you're trying to get into a job that requires a security clearance or like a police work, they know they're going to find that information if it's out there on the internet. And they do pretty extensive questions when you become a police officer to make sure that you haven't done things in your past that might maybe disqualify you from police work. So now, does your department require a college degree?
Not a full college degree, no.
Okay,
No.
they require some, but you have a master's degree.
I have a master's
degree in in what?
Public administration.
Public administration.
Yes, I had that. My prior career field as a caseworker, I was going back to get my master's degree to get more into management and to help in that area. And so after 9/11, and I decided that I wanted to change my career path. I only had one class to take, so it didn't make any sense to not finish it up. So don't really use it now, but it is what it is. I already paid for it, so I wanted to finish it up.
Right.
So I didn't want to waste all that money. So
yeah. So after you're done with police work, you could go into public administration.
Well, things have changed. Been a lot of change, I'm sure, in 25 years, whatever, when I'm done with it. But
right.
I do have that piece of paper. So
okay. And we had a request to see Ranger again. Ranger, come here.
Come here, buddy.
This is Ranger. Come on up.
Up. You're old. I got you. Oops. Come here.
This is Ranger. Okay. He is 11 years old.
He's 11 years old.
Yes, he's 11 years old. He is retired. He retired a year ago, about a year ago. He
retired last year, so
retired,
he was hi buddy. Yeah, I know. He's almost 12, so he was 10 and a half when he retired.
Okay. And that was actually another question that we had was, at what age does the dog retire?
He retired late.
It depends. There are dogs that retire a lot sooner than what Ranger did or other dogs do, depending on what department, what kind of jobs they do. Health of the dog is very important. Some dogs will, if they have health issues, are going to retire a lot sooner. It just depends. There's some places may have a written number. Age 8, we're going to retire. Where I'm at doesn't have anything like that. Ranger was a pretty healthy dog. He still is. I'm very fortunate. He's a very healthy dog. But it's a lot of it depends on their ability to still do their job and do it effectively.
Mm-hmm. And just so Ranger comes into my office every once in a while, and he has to sniff everything to make sure that the room is safe. Anytime he goes somewhere, he still remembers his job, and he goes around and smells everything.
Amazon packages.
Yeah, make sure everything's safe. Boxes. So he keeps us safe here. Just he's a good, very good boy. He's a very sweet dog. Excuse me. So kind of related to that, at what age do dogs retire? Ranger worked for how many years was it before he retired?
Ranger worked a long time.
Was it 9 years?
9 years.
9 years. Okay.
9 years when he retired.
Right.
Yeah.
And so it doesn't sound like he's very old. But one thing for the kids to remember is that working dogs are working. So they're on their feet a lot. They're walking around a lot. So
on the feet, in and out of the car.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
you
it
know,
is. It's a little bit different than if a dog is just staying at home and,
right,
and
right.
getting played with on a regular basis. These dogs, how many hours do you work in a day? Well, how many you work 10 hours,
I work
but
10-hour days.
but how long does the dog actually work during that time?
Yeah, I mean, it all depends. I mean, there's days and then we're working nonstop for not nonstop. Dogs have to have a break, but we're you know we're 15 we work 15, 16-hour days,
Mhm.
and he's probably out of the car almost half that time. So
Right.
it can be long days. I mean, just looking yesterday, I always check. It's, I walked yesterday was 4 miles. So dogs are in and out of the car. They get a lot of exercise. So sometimes it does wear on their joints pretty good, their knees, their hips.
Mhm.
But yeah, they're a lot more. They have a lot more stress on them than it is on the. I'm sorry, like a family dog. It's just the working. It's like it's just different stress on the animal.
Right. And some of the things that you do with the dogs, like do the dogs wear bulletproof vests? No, because I know you wear one.
Yes,
but the dogs don't wear one. But in some departments they do.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I guess it depends on what kind of work the dog
they're
is doing.
Obviously.
Yeah. So what Ranger did was different than what police dogs do in some departments.
Right.
So in some departments they're actually going to chase people.
Right.
So they need a little bit more protection than Ranger, who's
Right.
not going to chase people.
Right.
So another related question. Ranger was out walking a lot in snow, hot weather, and everything. Did he wear the little booties?
Yeah. When we have a temperature sensor, and when the concrete gets a certain temperature, you'll burn the dog's pads. So it's not summertime right now, but when it's real hot outside, kind of be nice to your dogs. You'll notice it on the back deck. I mean, we got a back deck at our home, and you can see if the dog starts looks like they're dancing, it's too hot. Take them back inside, because of that you can burn their pads. The same thing in the cold. When we get real cold and we start seeing ice on the ground, we put the pads back on. It just protects their feet. It comes back to the point I made earlier in this video or interview about taking care of the dog. We got to take care of, make sure they're healthy also. So their feet, they're on all day. It's like our feet. I hurt my feet, I can do my job. So they hurt their feet, they're not going to be able to do their job either. So
right.
He always wore boots when it got too hot or when temperatures did get too cold.
And if you get booties for your dog, take video when they first wear them, because it's usually hilarious.
It's funny, yes.
Yeah, it's usually
funny.
very funny.
Yes.
It's not a natural feeling for them, so they kind of prance around a little bit.
Exactly, yeah. I want to get them off. Yeah.
Do you have boots for your new dog?
Yes.
You do? Has he worn them yet?
Yes.
He has. Was it hilarious?
Yes, they always.
Okay.
Funny. Last bad Ranger, but it was funny.
Yeah, I'd like to see video of that. The new dog is a goofball. He's a very sweet dog, but he's a bit of a goofball.
He listens to me.
He listens to Parker. They don't listen to me.
I taught him tricks.
Yeah.
Not supposed to.
Not supposed to. Yeah. Don't teach the dog tricks. So Parker actually likes to train the dogs. He likes to work with the dogs.
If Bingo was in here, I could demonstrate.
Well, no, we don't need to demonstrate.
He doesn't listen.
So Parker, when we have the stay-at-home dogs, and we also have Ranger now, and Parker actually works with them to train them how to do things. So you can start pretty young. Parker's only 14, and he's been training the dogs for a couple of years now. The stay-at-home dogs.
I was training Astro when I was little.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's been training dogs since he was little. So if you have any final questions, please go ahead and comment them. And again, if any of Vince's friends are watching and have any questions for him, just make sure they're kid appropriate. If any of his coworkers are watching and want to say hi, you're welcome to. I won't put your message up on the screen if you don't want me to. But so Vince is a canine technician. He's been doing this for quite some time.
5 years. Yep.
5 years. So I appreciate you coming on.
My pleasure.
I had to drag him down here.
Ranger voluntarily.
Ranger came downstairs. I had to drag Vince down here
Yes.
to come to the office and do the interview. But I appreciate you.
My pleasure. My pleasure.
Okay.
No problems. Yeah.
All right. So we're just about out of time. So everybody, thanks for watching. For the Girl Scouts, I didn't ask your questions because Vince is a guy. I know the questions are for women. And actually, I do have one last question. Is your field male dominated? Would you say your field is pretty male dominated?
We have the majority of our handlers are male, but we do have female handlers.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
yeah,
That's good.
it's-
Because that was one of the questions the Girl Scouts had was, do you work in a male-dominated field? So you do.
Yes, I do.
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes,
Okay.
yes. But we do have lots of capable females who do the same job that I do. So it's
Okay.
it's
And there's always room for more. So
Yes,
if any of
exactly.
the girls are watching, I'm sure they would love to have you when you're a little older. Have you come and try to become a police officer and eventually a canine technician.
Yep.
I always hear lots of stories. It sounds like a very interesting and varied career. So thanks again.
You're welcome.
So we'll see you next week. We have an interview next Tuesday. Let me just double check. Next Tuesday, the 14th, with Kelsey Castleberry. She is a magazine journalist. And then we also have an interview on next Thursday with Lori Gross. She is our Antarctic expedition guide. And then I can't remember. I think we have another interview on Friday. I can't remember who that's with. And we've got a couple more interviews scheduled for the next couple weeks while you kids are home. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Have a good day.
Thanks.